We are live now. I've made you the host. I'm your co-host. I'll be here.
Okay, all right, great. Like we're all ready. Thanks.
Can we resume the recording?
Yeah,
All right.
I got it.
Your doggy is so cute.
Oh, thank you. We think so.
I also think I find doggy is very cute.
All right, let me. Hey, Walt.
Good morning.
How are you?
Pretty good, thanks.
Okay. Okay, is that Joy? Oh, there you are. Yes. Hey, Joy. Hey, Doreen. How are you?
Hello,
Welcome.
thank you.
Glad to have you. And is it Suraj? Is I pronounced that correctly?
Hello,
Hi, welcome.
thank you.
And let's see, May's here. Hi, May. Hope everybody's having a nice day. Depending where you are, it's morning or afternoon. It's one of those split times a day. It's afternoon here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And here comes Margaret. Hi, Margaret. Can you hear me?
Oh, there. Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, that's the purpose, to make sure you can unmute. So that's good.
Yeah. Got to rename myself each time. It's got my official name.
Um, Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get started getting us ready to go here. We usually take the first 4 to 5 minutes and give people a chance to get in from their any of the class they were in beforehand and make sure everybody's got their technology working. See, Leslie's just coming in. Hi, Leslie. It'll take me a minute or two to get everything ready. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
Hey, wait. I just saw a message in the chat from Joy. She said, "Are you covering labels?"
No, we are not going to do labels in this class, but maybe something we do in the intermediate class. We're still designing that one. That's a little advanced for the basics class. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And so you should see my slides at this point and be able to see all the way to the right side of the screen. If there's any pictures in the way or anything else obstructing your view, let us know and we can help you move those out of the way. I'm going to get your pictures over here on my other monitor so I can see you over here. Okay. And let's see. I'm going to leave everyone unmuted since we got a fairly small group here, but if we start to have any background noise or echoes or anything, we may have to mute everybody. So just remember to check your settings before you ask a question and see if you're muted or not. If you're muted, just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the question. You don't need to raise your hand or anything, just unmute and ask away. That's fine. We're informal here. And I also have opened the chat. So in case you do have mic problems or have something you want to ask through the chat, that is now open. And Joe is going to be from our TA group is here with me. Joe's going to be monitoring the chat and also helping to manage the class. So thank you for joining us, Joe. Appreciate your help. And I think that has us ready and it is time to get started. So this is Word Basics. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the class. My name is Wade Yarbrough and I'll be the guide today for the class. So briefly about me, I'm from a small town in West Tennessee called Mason, Tennessee. It's a very small town, 500 people. I have a PhD in psychology that I got from West Virginia University. It is in experimental psychology, not clinical psychology, so I won't be psychoanalyzing anyone. But I spent most of my career designing, installing, and training users how to use hospital information systems. I did have a minor in computer science, so I've always kind of been switching between psychology and technology. And I love teaching at Get Set Up because I get to teach people that are in the class because they're interested in the class, not because their employer told them they had to attend the class. So let's and that's what we're trying to do at Get Set Up, is to create an environment where you can take classes about topics you're interested in, and along with other people that are interested in that same topic, you can interact with each other as well as with the guide. So that's what we try to do, is create an environment where it is comfortable and interactive. That's one reason we do ask you to turn your cameras on if you're okay with that, to make it feel a little more comfortable and welcoming, but it is certainly not required. The session is being recorded and you can request a copy of that recording. All you have to do is send an email to help@getsetup.io. Be sure to include the class name and the date you attended it. And if you don't have that, I'm going to put that in the chat just in case you need that email address. You can copy it out of the chat. We're also live streaming the class today, so I do want to welcome anyone joining us via live stream. Thank you for joining as well. I hope you enjoyed the class, but I do want to stress that the only way to get that full Get Set Up experience I described, where you can interact with other learners and with the guide, is to go to our website and register for the class. And finally, we're not paid to promote any of the products that we train on. We are purely trainers. So let's take a look at the agenda for today. This is a basics class, and so we will start with the basics of what Word is and how to get access to Word in case you have never used Word before. We'll talk about how to create and save Word documents. We'll tour the main menus, the ribbons, and talk about how to format documents. And if we have time, we'll talk about how to share documents as well. So a lot to cover. Let's get started. But again, if you have questions, since we got a small group, please just unmute and ask questions as you have them. You don't have to wait for me to open questions at the end. So we'll take questions as they come up. So what is Word? Microsoft Word is the industry leader and has been for quite some time. It's been around a very long time. However, Google Docs is gaining in popularity and it has some there's some pros and cons between the two of them. Google Docs is typically viewed as easier to use and easier to share. Microsoft Word has more functionality than Google Docs does, but they're pretty comparable at this point. So how do you get access to Microsoft Word? There are really three ways. The primary way and the only way to get the full functioning Microsoft version is to subscribe to Microsoft 365. That is a subscription, an annual subscription. It's $69.99 a year. But for that, you also get Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, Outlook, lots of things for that. And you also get 1 terabyte of storage, so much more storage than you get with Google. So it's really not a bad deal for everything you get for $70 a year. There is a free version. It's called Office on the Web, where you can run all of the Office products, including Word, in a browser. But it is not the full functioning version that you get with Microsoft 365. It's a little bit of a stripped down version. And you can also install it on your smartphone or tablet as an app. Just go to the App Store and find Microsoft Word and download it. But again, this is an even more stripped down version, not the full functionality of Microsoft 365. So today we're going to be training on the Microsoft 365 version of Word. Let me just pause there and see if there's any questions from anyone that either doesn't have Word, maybe you've used it before where you worked, but you don't have your own copy now. And I will put links to some of this in the email that comes out after class as well, in case you do need to change your subscription or investigate the other options. Okay, no questions. Let's keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize the slides over here. Maybe a little hard for you to read, but I'm going to be reading them for you. But go ahead and open up Word so that you can see it. And that's what we're going to be focusing on for the rest of the class. And get this up there. There we go. Okay. There. That's what I'm trying to do. Get that out of the way. Thank you. So when you open Word, this is the home screen that you would come to. You can open Word like I did down here from the taskbar. You can also get to it from the Start menu, clicking on Microsoft Office over here where you have all, and these are all the things that come as part of Microsoft 365, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, OneNote, and Skype. Okay. But you would just click Word here to open Word. And you'll notice the screen has two sections. There's a new section at the top, where you can create a new Word document. And then there's a separate section at the bottom, and this contains all the documents you have previously worked on or documents that have been shared with you. So this is your list of documents down here. We're going to start at the top, and there's two ways to create a new document. You can just start with a blank document, and I'll click into that just to show you what that looks like. And it opens a blank document, as mentioned, that you can start with. I'm going to reopen Word. The other thing you can do is start with a template. And there'll be a couple up here in the top part of the screen, but there's a little link here for more templates. And if you click here, it takes you into a much longer list of templates. And there's a huge number of templates. In fact, you can see there's different groupings here, business-related templates. I won't click into all of those, but there are cards, flyers, letters, education-related, resumes and cover letters, holiday, just a few kind of things just to, again, explain a little bit about what's out there. There's calendars, lots of different letter formats, lots of resume formats, lots of business documents, brochures, even certificates. And the way the templates work is that when you open it, it takes this template and creates a Word document that you can then modify. I'm going to start with the business letter. That's a very common one that people use. You've got to send a letter somewhere and you want to start with a template. You don't remember exactly all the formatting you're supposed to do for a business letter. So I'm just going to click on the business letter. And it shows me a sample of what the template looks like. It tells me a little bit about it, and I get the option to go ahead and create that or change my mind and delete it. I want to go ahead and create it. And it opens this up. If you have a company and you want to put your company's name or your company's logo up here, you can do that. If you're just sending a personal letter, but you want it in business format, I could just delete that section up there and I don't have to worry about it. You can put the date, street address, and you basically are filling in the information here with your information. So I would put my street address, etc. Questions about templates? Try and get this so I can bring this down a little bit so I can grab it. There, thank you. We're going to go over this in a little more detail, but this is a handy icon to know about. This is the undo and clear. So if you delete something and you decide you want it back, you can bring it back. Try to call this my company. Now, when I'm done, I can save it. And you've got a couple of options in saving now. You see that this has autosave here, and autosave is off. Autosave is a feature that you can use if you're using OneDrive, and we have another whole class on OneDrive. But if you turn on OneDrive and you store that document in OneDrive, and let's see. It's now saved it. And what happens with autosave, whenever I make changes, I don't need to click the save button anymore. It automatically saves my changes, as the name suggests. It's my option. I can turn this off, in which case I would have to make manually change things as I made changes. So I've made a change. If I have autosave turned off, if I go to leave here, it's going to warn me that there's changes that I haven't made yet. Do I want to make those, save those changes or not? So it does at least warn me. If I have autosave on, it automatically saves my changes. And so when I'm ready to leave, I can just close that document down and it's automatically saved. The bottom section has documents that I've worked on already, and it has three different tabs here. One has the documents that I've worked on, and these are in the order of most recently modified. This is my most recent list, and you can just scroll down through all those documents you've worked on. You have the option to do something called pinning, and if I come over to a document, here's the one I just created, sample business letter. If I click on this little pin, it pins that one. I'm going to come over to the pinned list. It shows me the documents that I have pinned, and here's that sample business letter in my pinned list. So the pinned list is nice if you've got 50, 100 documents that you've worked on, and this is a big list. There may be several things that you work on a couple of times a year, 3 times a year, maybe. Not every day, certainly not every week even. And so if you're looking for it, you'd have to scroll way down and try and find it or search for it and remember the name. By pinning it, you can take those documents that are most important, that you use the most, and they're right here in the list for you. If you want to unpin something, you just reverse that process. I come over here to the pin, click it, and now I've unpinned it. It's back over here in my recent list, but it's out of my pinned list. Last tab here is called Shared with Me. With Word now and the documents that are in OneDrive, you can share those documents with someone else. Someone else can share a document with you that they have in their OneDrive. And so these are documents that have been shared with me by someone else. Here's the person that owns those documents. And so they have shared them with me. I'll show you later in the class how you can share documents. But I can open these documents and make changes to them based on whatever privileges that person has given me to do. All right. questions about any of that? Okay, if not, I'm going to go back over to my recents and let's just open up that sample business letter we kind of started on as an example. So in terms of editing, which is what we want to talk about next, this is called the ribbon. And this has all the different commands that I can execute. The format pretty much is you have a pages here at the top. There's the home page, the insert page, the design page. Each page has different groupings of commands. So this is the page setup group. This is the paragraph group. And then within those groups, you have the different commands. And in some cases, there's a drop down here if there's multiple commands. So that's how all of the commands are organized. So you can find them and work on them. Most of the time, most of what you're doing will be in the home, but you will need to go into these other ones at some point. Luckily, you don't have to know all the commands on all the different pages to use Word. It's fairly simple, but this is kind of where it shows the amount of functionality that is available. Let me grab this. Now up here in the top, it also has something that's called the quick access toolbar. Let me click back down into the body of the document. So that's where I just did the undo. So if I change something here, it gives me that undo. So I've got 3 commands in my quick access toolbar right now: undo, redo, and then quick print. If I click here, it shows me other commands that I can add up there. So if I want to have the print preview up in my quick access toolbar, I can put that up there. I can even go down here to more commands. And it gives me pretty much all the different commands that I could add over to my quick toolbar. So if I want to move something over and add it to my quick access toolbar, I just click and move it over. If I want to take something off, I can click and put it back. So that's how you can customize your quick access toolbar. Any questions?
I'm muted.
All right.
No.
All right.
I had a job to email a document, but you've just shown me on that quick bar, there's an email command, yes?
Yes, there is. And it is right here.
Right. I'm having a job to convert from old mail to the new one,
Okay.
to Windows, to version 10.
Okay. So, and so we do have a class as well about Outlook email, where we talk about the email. So we're not going to get into the email part here. This is just how you could send this document via email to someone.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shortcut. And it'll send it via Outlook email. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going. There's no other questions about those basic functions. Let's actually get into the documents and talk about some of the things that we can do in terms of modifying and editing a document. And I'm going to go back and get a different document. So if I want to change documents, I can click on File. And it brings me back to that home page. So I can come down here and I'm going to work on this syllabus. It's a little more complex document, more things we can do here. It opens it in a separate window. So if I want to keep this one open, I can have multiple open at the same time. For a lot of people, that gets a little confusing. So I'm going to just close this one down. I can always open that document again. So you can do, all the typical formatting of text that you can do with any other word processor, or even if you're working in email. So if I wanted to change this, the font here, I can go in and make this be bold. I can remove the italics. I can change the font and use a different font. You can change the size. So things you're probably comfortable with that use other places. So all those are up here in this font group. Yeah. In terms of working with paragraphs, you can do things like, this one already is a numbered list. If I want to change it to be just a bulleted list instead of a numbered list, you can click here and change how you're dealing with that paragraph. There's different types of bullets. I want it to be clear circles instead of dark circles or check marks. That's how you can change. There's basically a bullet library here where you can select what you want it to be. It doesn't make much sense here, but you can also change whether it's left aligned, centered, or right aligned. In this context, this paragraph, it only makes sense to be left aligned, but they're all up here as well. It also has what are called styles that are used quite a bit. In this document, I've got several, it uses several styles. So in this case, you can have different headings set up. And so in this case, if I wanted to change this heading, I could come here and I've got like first heading, second heading, third heading. And so you can see the changes that it makes. So you can set these up. So I want this to be a level 2 heading. So I can select that and it'll change the style. What you're doing for most of your document is just the normal style. And if I change this to normal, it would change it back to normal. It would take out that highlighting. I liked it better it was before. So luckily I've got my undo up here. So I'll put it back like it was. And again, if I'm going too fast, please stop me. You can include tables. This is a table where it's set up in rows and columns, and I can add information into the table. Etc. Let me show you how to do the tables, and I need to get this to come down a little bit again. Oh, it's just trying to be ornery with me today. There we go. I'm going to select this table and delete it. And when I click delete, I can either delete a column, a row, a cell, or the entire table. I'm going to delete the entire table. I'm going to show you how to insert a new table. So if I want to add that table, I can come up to insert and go to table. And you basically kind of structure here what you want it to look like. So it was 2 rows, and I think it had 4 columns. Don't remember. You can put as many as you want. Just click in that bottom right corner of what you've painted there, and it creates that table. I'll go back home here. So then I could set this up. So this was meeting day. This was the time. This was the location, etc. This is italicized. Before it wasn't italicized, so I can select this and come back up and remove the italics. Can make it be a little bigger if I want to. You can change the size of the font right there instead of having to come up and pick it from the drop down. Either way works. I might even want to add a background color. I want to have it be light blue, maybe. So flip into this pretty quick again. If you have questions,
Can you
stop me.
change the width of the cell, please, of the table?
Yep, you just put the cursor there, move the cursor until it changes to an arrow pointing left and right, and then you can drag
Fine,
to change it.
fine.
And this is a case where it makes more sense to change the alignment. So maybe I want those headers centered instead of less justified. So that's, where you would change the alignment. This is a better example of that. So that's how you can use tables. You can tell there's lots of tables that are being used in this. So these are all tables. Several examples of how you might want to do tables. Pictures are something you also may want to add to documents. Probably not a good example here, but just to show you how it works, I'm going to just say I want to put a picture right there. I'm going to go up to insert. And a picture. And there's several ways to insert a picture. If you've got a picture you want on your device, you can go and pull it off of your device. So if I click here, it's going to open up File Explorer. And anything I can get to via File Explorer, which is it, I can get to. So I've got pictures here. Several different places. I've got pictures on my device, which is where it is now, but I can go up to my OneDrive. We talked about OneDrive a little bit already. That's the cloud storage system for Microsoft. So I've got some pictures up there, so I could go and pull a picture off of there. I'll grab a picture of my motorcycle. And once it's in there, you can shrink it down, make it fit. Probably still a little too big. Shrink it down a little bit more. Once you've got the picture that you want, there's some placement options you have. And that's what this little icon is right here. It usually defaults to inserting in line with the text, which means it'll put it in its own line. It'll have the previous lines above and below it, but you can also wrap it. So in this case, I'm wrapping it so that it's in the middle, the text goes around it instead of going on above and below. If you change it to tight, it just gets rid of those big spaces and brings this in a little tighter. So you can try out those different options and see what works. If you can actually move this over into the center and have it come on either side of it. Let me show you some other options for inserting pictures. Let's go down because I'm almost filling that page up. Let's just start here and put a picture there. Okay. So that was inserting a picture from your device. You can also get stock images that are available to you. And these are pictures that have already been approved for you to use. So, and there's several different sections that got images, and it has things like cutout people and stickers that you can bring in. But if I wanted to bring in this picture, I can just click here and insert it. And it puts that picture in there. That's way too big. Let's make it smaller. So that's bringing one in from a stock image as opposed to a picture I'd taken and is on my device. The third option is online pictures. And again, these are from a much larger catalog of pictures that are available off of the internet. And again, they're grouped down here. So you can go in and select from the group, or you can just search from up here. If I'm looking for dog pictures, I can click there and it shows me a variety of dogs, including cartoon dogs, real dogs. I can grab whatever I want that's stately looking. Click there and insert. It puts in that picture. Again, I can resize it. Etc. Questions about adding pictures? I'll come back down here. The thing you can do is insert shapes. So we're going to go back to insert. And shapes are right here. And there's several different types. There's smart art and icons and 3D models. They all work pretty much the same. You click on there and it'll show you all the different options you have to insert shapes. Lots of times you use arrows. So if I want to insert an arrow, I can just click that and use my cursor to size it. As I drag it down, it makes it bigger. When I drag it to the left, it makes it smaller. So you can do a lot of editing as you're first putting it in there. And once it's there, this little handle you can use to pivot it in a different orientation. So you can have it pointing at what you want it to point to. You can drag and drop it other places. Let's see what else we got up there. Smart art. This is where you can put boxes or other things you may want to put information into. So then you'd add your text into each one of these. These are used really, frankly, more in PowerPoint, I think, than in Word, but you can put it into Word as well. Okay. Questions, let me know. With larger documents, the other things you can do is you may want to put in headers, footers, and page numbers. So right now there's no headers in this document. This, what looks like a title or is just the first line of text. I'm going to go back into insert and come over here. And if I want to add a header, I can click here and it gives me some sample headers that I may want to use. Everything from just a blank header with nothing around it to some that provide a little bit of color. For instance, let's try that one. So that's inserted a header. Now maybe what I want to do is to take this and put this up in my header. To get back into the header, I just double click up there in the header area and I can paste that up there. Let me go back home and center this because it should be centered. So now that's part of my header, which means it'll be on every page. And it's got my page number in there if I want to do that. So there's page 1, page 2. I think this one does have a footer. So this one has a footer where it already has the page number in the footer. So I don't really need that page number up in the header. So if I don't want the page number in there, I can just click on that and delete it. Take the page number off and just have that little color section. So again, to get into the body, you just double click down in the body. To get back up to the header, I double click on the header. Questions about headers, footers, or page numbers? Everybody's quiet today. I didn't really show you how to do this. Let's go down to the footer. Take this out. And let's go back to insert. And so you can put your page number at the top of the page, at the bottom of the page. You can put it in the margin. You can put page numbers pretty much anywhere you want to put one. Let's put it at the bottom of the page. So that puts my page number down here. I can go back home and center it, which probably looks better. And if you want to clean it up a little bit, you can actually put page 1. So again, subsequent pages, it'll have page 2, page 3. Okay. So you can also work with the layout. We're going to do a little bit with the layout. I'm not going to get too deep into that one, but the layout will let you control things like the margins and the, so I can click on the layout tab at the top. It brings me my layout options. So if I want to change the margins, I can click here, and it has some predefined margins. So if I want to have moderate margins, I can click there and it changes the margins to be a little wider. If I want to go with a narrow margin, I can click this one and it shrunk the margins down on all 4 sides. Or if you want to set it yourself, you can come down and do custom margins where you can set what size margins you want at the top, bottom, left, right. You can change it from portrait to landscape orientation. You can add columns if you want to have columns. This document doesn't lend itself real well to columns, but just to demonstrate what that is. So let's say I want to put this information into 2 columns instead of 1. I can just select what I want to put into the columns, select columns here, and say put it in 2 columns, and it now breaks that information into 2 columns. If I do that and I decide I don't like that, I can come back up here to my undo and put it back like it was, my favorite command. But some things do lend itself well to having it in multiple columns. So depending on what you're putting into the document, you may or may not want to use columns. And then the other thing that comes in handy is if you're working on a section, and let's go down here and find a better example. Well, we'll just create an example from here. Let's say I want this to be on the next page instead of on this page. You can click here and go up here to breaks. And you can basically say do a column break or a page break, I mean. And it'll take that information and move it down here into a separate page. Okay. So any other questions around editing while we're
Just getting used to the menus at the top, which one's under which heading.
Yeah, it takes a little experimenting, a little study to go into each one of them to kind of see what is there.
Mm.
Yeah, and as I said, there's a lot there. That's kind of one of the strengths and the weaknesses. There's so many things, it can be a little overwhelming. If you look at Google Docs, doesn't have nearly as many options up here, but it's not quite as intimidating for a novice or someone that doesn't really need all of these functions. It has a little cleaner style. It's again kind of a comparison and contrast. I did want to mention sharing, and we'll do that quickly, and then I'll open up for general questions. I think that's the last thing I had on the list. Yeah, but I did mention that if the file if you've saved the document in OneDrive, which is a cloud storage system, that means you can share it with other people. So let's say I want to share this document with somebody. And actually what I'm going to do is, okay, we'll just go ahead and share it. So you can come up here to share, or you can come over here and do file share. They both do the same thing. I'm going to use the one up here since I don't have to leave the page. So I did a quick keyboard shortcut I didn't mention. I held down the control key and hit the home key, which takes me back to the top of the page. the top of the document, so I didn't have to scroll all the way back up to get to where I was. Let's say I've got this the way I want it, and I want to share it with another instructor that's teaching the same class, so they can take what I've already put together and just change their information. Maybe they, the way to share that is to come up here and click on share. And the first thing you can do is determine what do you want that person to be able to do. So I can have them edit the document. So maybe I'm going to share it with a co-teacher or my student teacher and let them be able to make changes to that document along with me. If I'm sharing it with a co-professor who's going to use it to create their own class, I don't want him editing mine. I'm just going to let him use it to create his own copy. So I'm going to say, do not allow editing. Now you can also set an expiration date, which if you're letting someone edit it, it's not a bad idea to do that and say, well, you can edit it, but you've got a week to make changes, and then I'm going to pull it back and not let you make changes anymore. And if it's something confidential, you can even set a password. So the person would need the link and the password to open the document. I'm going to take out the expiration date. So I'm just going to say I'll let them edit it. Well, let's not. Let's make it share only. I'm going to apply. Then I determine who am I going to send this to. And so you can send it, determine who you want to send it to. I can put that person in there. I can add another person, as many people as I want. I can put a message in here. Etc. And hit send. And it will go ahead and send an email with a link in the email. When they click on the link, it will give them access to this document.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and send this. Okay, so it's been successfully sent. I don't think. Okay. Now, what she can do when she gets that, she won't be able to edit the document, but she could just go in and do a file, save as, and create a copy, change the name. And then now she would have her own copy that she could edit. She can't mess up my copy. So that was the last thing I was going to share with you today. We got a couple of minutes for open questions. Anybody have questions about anything we covered or didn't cover?
Does the one who you're sending to have to be in your contacts?
They don't. If they're in your contacts, it'll pop up like she did. If not, you just have to enter a full and valid email address and it will send it.
Right.
Yeah. Now, and yeah, okay. Right. No questions? Okay. We are just about out of time anyway. I was going to see, let me see, make sure. Yep, that was the last thing I was going to share. So let's go ahead and we'll go into the closing so I can get you out of here in time to get to your next class.
Thank you very much.
Right. So I got a few things in closing to go over. That is the end of the actual class, though. And hopefully you enjoyed the class. And if you use social media to share your experiences, be sure and tag us on there at getsetup.io. If you want to share your experiences, but you don't do social media yourself, you can email Liz at getsetup.io. That's Liz's picture there. And she'll share it on our social media for you. There are a couple of related classes. We have Excel classes, Excel Basic and Intermediate. There's Google Docs Basic, which is the Google version or competitor for Word. And I don't have it here, but I mentioned it a couple of times. We got the OneDrive class, which talks about that underlying OneDrive.
I'd be interested in the OneDrive.
Okay, I'll show you how to get to that class. We're going to be going, because the next thing I want to talk about is the email that's going to be coming out after class. And it will have several sections. One section is called the class notes. And in the class notes, there'll be links to some websites with some additional information. Some of it will be covered in class, some related information. There'll be links to several directly related classes in there that you can just click on. And I'll add that OneDrive class in there as well. I'm not sure if it's in there, but we'll put it in there. If you want to share the class with someone else, if you enjoyed the class and you know someone that you think would enjoy it as well, you can share a link to the class either by posting it on Facebook or emailing it to someone via email. There'll be links to 3 other classes that may or may not be related that you might be interested in, though. If you are, just click on that link and it will take you to the registration page. If you click Give Feedback, it will open the feedback form. Very simple form, only 2 questions. How do you want to rate the class? 1 to 5 stars. Just click on the stars. How do you want to rate the guide? Same thing, 1 to 5 stars. Add comments below and hit done. Very quick and easy. We hope you're enjoying being part of the Get Set Up community. And if you are, there are several ways you can get more active. If you would like to host an interest group, we would love to help you set that up and sponsor that for you. You can pick any topic you're interested in. So for example, we don't have an interest group around Microsoft Word. So if you would like to host an interest group about Microsoft Word, get together with other people, share tips and tricks and help troubleshoot. That would be one way to do that, is just to let us know, help@getsetup.io. If there's a class you'd like to see us teach, or if you belong to an organization that you think would be a good partner for us, just let us know. And of course, same email address to get a copy of the recording. And the last link is to view schedule, which takes you to our website where you can book another class. I want to point out a few things about the website in case you haven't found it. Most of these are fairly new within the last few weeks. Right in the center of the screen now, there's a View My Complete Schedule link, sort of hides there in plain sight. If you click that, it will take you to the classes you've booked. When it's time to take a class, you can launch straight from here instead of having to save the emails. Some people find that easier. If you have a conflict come up and you need to delete a class, you can just click Cancel Class here and cancel the class. All you have to do is just put a reason why you're canceling and say Submit. It'll cancel the class, take it off your schedule, and open that up for another person. If there's a class that you're looking for, or a type of class you're looking for, so we talked about OneDrive, you can just type in keywords into the search bar. So if I type in OneDrive, there it is, OneDrive Basics. And click, and it'll take you to the page for that class. If you want to book the class, you can just click Book. And we've made one change to the booking screen. You can add it to your calendar from here, and you can put it on Outlook, Google, iCalendar, or Yahoo Calendar, pretty much all 4 of the most prominent calendars. But if you want to invite a friend to the class you're going to be taking, that way you'll be in the same class together, you can just click Invite a Friend and put their email address here and click Send Email. Or you can click here to copy the link and then go paste that link into an email or onto a Facebook page, wherever you want to put it.
Mhm.
The last thing I'll show you is if there's a guide, or maybe there's several guides that you like their classes and you want to see what they're going to be teaching for the next couple of weeks, just type in their name and hit enter. And it'll show you their classes, and it's in chronological order, starting with the current class. This is my list, so this is the class we're taking right now. I'm going to be doing Google Calendar later today, and then it goes into classes for tomorrow and forward. So if you see a class that you're interested in taking, you can just click on that class here and book it. Any questions about the website or booking classes? If not, I'm going to let you go. I'll give you 5 minutes, just enough time to get a drink of water and get ready for your next class. I do want to thank you for attending. Hope you enjoyed the class.
Very
And
useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Appreciate it. Hope to see you again in another class soon.
Thank you, Wade.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Bye now. Bye, Joy.
Goodbye, Wade. Thank you.
Bye, Joe.